My name's Ray Palmer. I'm a farmer from Stanthorpe in Queensland. We're here on a windy day at the Northey Street Organic Farmers Market to talk about my recent trip to Korea as part of the East and Southeast Asia region, La Via Campesina, second strategy meeting discussing the Trans-Pacific Partnership and regional free trade. The visit to Korea involved a three-day meeting with delegates from Korea, of course, Japan, Indonesia, Taiwan and Australia. Myself and Harvey Peirce were there as observers from Australia. Because at this stage, Australia does not have a farm organisation that is a member of La Via Campesina. The meeting discussed the impacts of trade liberalisation in each country and potential future impacts from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is currently under negotiation, and also other regional, bilateral and multilateral free trade agreements. So each country was discussing potential impacts on each country, and then at the finish we were discussing how best we might head this off at the pass, how best we might prevent further liberalisation of trade. Reason being, of course, as multiple examples all over the world that trade liberalisation, neoliberal trade policies have detrimental impacts on farmers. It doesn't matter whether a country is a net exporter like Australia is of food, or a net importer such as Korea is. The effects of trade liberalisation on farmers are universally bad. The current campaign against the TPP, the way it seems to have played out so far and the way it will no doubt continue to play out, each country has slightly different political hot points regarding the different aspects of the negotiations. For example, with Australia, any agricultural impacts of the TPP are less for farmers, at least anyway, because all of our any protections that farmers had in Australia were traded away 25 or 30 years ago. Whereas protection of farmers, or recognition that every farmer in every country should have the right to be able to produce regionally appropriate food, that's still important in countries like Korea. And there are some aspects that are common across all countries, so nobody is terribly keen to have investor-state dispute resolution processes that allow companies, multinational companies, to sue governments where they try and regulate in the public interest, where that regulation affects the ability of companies to make profit. Yeah. So in terms of the action, each organisation in each country will use its own influence and work on the particular political hot points in that country to try and delay as long as we can the implementation of this, in the hope that if it's decided to be too hard, or if it's put off beyond certain political points in time frames, that then it becomes less important for certain politicians. Some of the countries are wanting to, and particularly countries like Korea, with the strength of the Korean Peasants League and the Korean Women Peasants Association, they can both mobilise a lot of farmers, and so they may have the political influence to have a significant, well, they may be able to stop it, who knows. Yes. With regard to Australian farmers, particularly small family farms in Australia, the likely implications of continued liberalisation in trade aren't obviously immediately threatening. However, I really do believe that we need to get away from this notion that Australian farmers are in competition with other small farmers in other countries, other family farmers in other countries. We're all in this together. I mean, whether you're a farmer in Australia or Indonesia, or Taiwan, China, Korea, we're all in the business of feeding the world. We're all in the business of feeding people. So we have more in common than we are different. As family farmers, I earnestly believe that the most important thing that we can do to both gain control over our own destinies and to stay on our farms and to support farmers in other countries is to start locally. Start to build relationships between ourselves as farmers, between farmers and customers, the eaters, the families in our cities and towns. So that has two effects. I mean, by building bridges between farmers and people in the cities, we can make our own farms more economically viable, and we can also educate the family. We can increase the level of support for small farmers in the broader community. Involvement in La Via Campesina is very, very valuable in terms of sharing experiences and sharing knowledge with farmers all over the world. It was one of the things that really came home to me, even though most of the discussions were via an interpreter, that all over the world, farmers, particularly small farmers, we might look different, we might have different cities, but we are more alike than we are different. It's very, very pertinent to Australian small farmers to be, to potentially in the future be further engaged with the La Via Campesina. So, as an avenue, at least as an avenue to improve exchanges and build collective information between farmers. I'd like to give a great big thank you to all of the supporters of the crowdfunding effort that helped, well, that funded the trip that allowed an Australian farmer to go to Korea and be a part of this event. Thank you a lot. Thank you to Scott and Diane from Reciprocity. Thank you to Food Connect, and thank you to the Australian Food Sovereignty Alliance for organising this and making it happen. Thank you all.